All right, Michelle, take it away if you'd like.
Awesome. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us today. We are very excited to be finally releasing and talking about carrying the torch to student success. This has been kind of a labor and love from me for a while, and I've had many partners along the way help support me in getting this program out and ready for you all to dive into. So we're really excited to present the final program to you today. So first, I just want to go ahead and do some introductions. My name is Michelle Clark. I am the Assistant Director for Student School Family Engagement from the Indiana Department of Education. And I'm also here with some partners that we are working together on this program. So I'll go ahead. Rebecca, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Rebecca Fraser. I'm the new school counseling specialist for the Department of Ed. I know I've been fortunate to meet some of you, but hope to continue to partner with you, and feel free to reach out if I can support in any way. Amy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Amy Porteous, and I'm the Director of School Counseling Initiatives for Inspire Success. We're the technical partners for this project, and I would like to introduce my partner, Amy, because we like a lot of Amy's in this team. Amy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amy Siegel, and I work with Amy Porteous at Inspire Success. I'm the Director of Online Tools and Development.
And we'll leave the best for last for Amanda Callahan.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Amanda Callahan. I coordinate Counselor Connect, which is a CISC initiative under Keep Indiana Learning. And we are basically we're going to be helping with the training components, the Institute components and registration. So thanks for joining us today. And I don't know if Alan Hill is on the call. If he is another big partner. Mm-hmm. He is the Executive Director of ISCA. So they're also a part of this collaboration.
Awesome, thank you. So going to go ahead and get started. So with a goal of clearly defining the role of the school counselor and improving student outcomes, especially tied to our new Indiana GPS characteristics and metrics, determined that all students need in order to be successful in life and their careers, Indiana has created the Indiana Model for Comprehensive School Counseling to help you create a data-driven program that leads to an award. So in the past, we have had the Indiana Gold Star Award, and it has been around for a long time. We took a pause, and then we had the lovely pandemic. But now we are releasing our new award system, Carrying the Torch to Student Success, and this will be taking the place of the Indiana Gold Star Award. It still has stars involved, but just a little bit different in some different components. And then we also have the hopes of potentially partnering with ASCA so that there may be some opportunity for reciprocity for the ASCA RAMP Award, which is their recognized ASCA model program.
All right, and speaking of ASCA, the question has been posed, what do school counselors do? And the most important question is, how are students different as a result of what school counselors do? So ASCA, to help answer this question, created the national model, which is the framework for a data-informed school counseling program. Indiana looked at ASCA's framework and then created this new model to help improve school counseling programs to best serve Indiana's students. And then Michelle, you got it? Okay. And then for a comprehensive school counseling program, or why, it does impact far more than just students. It can help increase involvement from stakeholders, both in the school setting and out of the school setting. In the school setting, defining counselor roles can increase productivity and staff buy-in on addressing student needs. And then collaboration with community and businesses will allow for more opportunities for students in the future. And then as far as data in the US, comprehensive school counseling programs are data-driven to best meet the needs of students, staff, and the community. It also ensures counselors are utilizing their time the most effectively. The data on this slide is an overall picture of mental health in the US. Probably some of these data points are not shocking to most of us in the field, but I will say, noting that in the US, the mental health issues mentioned, both diagnosed and undiagnosed, directly correlate with chronic absences, which could be a huge data point in advocating in your school for the need of comprehensive school counseling programs. Also, too, I feel that there is hope on this slide that youth reported they were 6 times more likely to complete school-based treatments versus going outside of the school setting. So as far as the US compared to data, we have more up-to-date data in the state. This is from the most recent 2022 Kids Count data book that was in partnership with the Indiana Youth Institute. Note that early suspension can equate to dropout. So we hope that in using a comprehensive school counseling program, we can find some alternatives for suspension, and also too that your programs can be data driven. Also, if you look to the right there, I think it's interesting to note that 52% of children that are already diagnosed with a mental health issue are not receiving treatment. So we hope that in utilizing these programs that we can increase that access to treatment and also hopefully help students not in just going to the ER for mental health visits. They are great for stabilizing students and meeting immediate crisis, but overall long-term support and mental health access will benefit students and in turn schools.
Awesome. And then to continue on with some of the data. So this was actually a survey from 2019. Like I said, the pandemic kind of wreaked havoc on some of our data collection surrounding school counseling in Indiana. But in the 2019 survey, it was found that 82% of counseling programs had not received or achieved the Gold Star recognition. And some of the reasons for that were either lack of time, lack of knowledge of the process, or lack of support from administrators or counseling staff to complete the process. And so we had a vision to create a new Indiana award, carrying the torch to student success. We wanted it to be a more user-friendly process that could be chunked into smaller time segments to allow schools to complete the process in a more efficient way. And just also allow them to have a support system with all of our partners to provide feedback throughout the process. And so this is just a timeline of kind of what has happened and where we are. In 2017, the Department of Education partnered with Butler to do a study on the effectiveness of the old Gold Star Award program. And their study found that there was no specific evidence that showed being a Gold Star school had any significant impact on student outcomes. So in August of 2019, the department created an advisory. And so this was with Indiana school counselors and stakeholders to come together to rewrite the program aligned with current state initiatives and to be aligned with the 4th edition of the ASCA model. Our vision behind creating a new Indiana award, carrying the torch to student success, again, was just to make it more time efficient. We also wanted to create ongoing professional development on how to build and maintain a comprehensive school counseling program. And we didn't want it to just be like a one-time award. We found that especially during some of the Lilly grant awarding that schools really pushed to get the Gold Star, but then we're not able to maintain the programming. And so it was really not beneficial for schools to do the entire process. As you can see, then COVID hit and it pretty much caused a delay in the release of the new program just because other things took priority and we had a change in administration at the department. But with our advisory stuck together and we pushed through. And so now we are finally releasing this for a complete rollout this fall. Some of the recommendations from the Gold Star review included a development of a tiered model so that schools can take more time to implement and develop their school counseling program. So as you'll see, we have a 3-tiered program in carrying the torch to student success, which allows for more flexibility and for schools to go at their own pace in looking at building a comprehensive program. We wanted to look to develop a new student survey or needs assessment. The old one was pretty lengthy and some schools found it difficult to get that completed. So we revised that. We wanted schools to be able to create their own goals and really have it align with their own school data and also the Indiana department's goals and data. We wanted to, again, create professional development, collaboration, and support. And so that is why we're doing our cohort model. So we're having schools kind of go through this process together. We are also going to have ongoing consultation and feedback from Indiana former RAMP reviewers and former Gold Star reviewers will be able to create and give feedback for schools as they're going through the process. So I know some schools have gone through maybe the entire RAMP process and in the end we're not able to achieve it. Whereas if they were having feedback along the way, we could have tweaked some things and they might have been or received the award. So we want to make sure that schools have some support during that time. We also wanted to align it to school-wide initiatives and competencies. So really looking at kind of the things the department is really focusing on right now. So looking at graduation pathways, employability skills, the Indiana Graduates Prepare to Succeed, all of the new initiatives that the state is focused on. And then also we wanted to ensure that we wanted to make it cost efficient as well. So currently this program is free, the professional development is free. So we're using some funding, some state set aside funding to make this happen for you all at no cost. So to dive in a little bit more about the tiered programming. So all of this, like I said, is tiered programming that provides student outcomes aligned with the Indiana Graduates Prepare to Succeed metrics. And so if you have not heard about Graduates Prepare to Succeed, it is essentially the Indiana's kind of new portrait of a grad. We will have a dashboard, and I believe, I don't want to give the wrong date, but November 14th is when it's supposed to release, but it is a dashboard. It's similar to InView, but this dashboard is more, it's more efficient because it has current data that fluctuates with the school data that's being shared with the department. So it really gives a clear indication of where your school is on certain metrics. And so you can find all of those metrics on the department's website. But just to give some examples, it would be attendance, it would be the achievement of certifications for high school students, credentials. They're going to look at academics, so where they are, where students are on iLearn scores. There's certain metrics with iRead. So just different metrics that you'll look at throughout the K-12. And so it's really important, we feel like schools should be designing their school counseling programs to really be data-driven and really help to improve those student outcomes. So the Bronze Star level can be done solely by an individual counselor, which would be a really good option for schools whose maybe administration isn't quite on board yet, or maybe they're a smaller school and they don't have a ton of support, they're the only counselor, or maybe it just isn't something that's top of mind for the entire department, but something that a school counselor is really passionate about. I think that they can start the process and then hopefully convince others to jump on board. Again, it's also a great advocacy tool, so you can pull some things together, earn the award, and then really show how moving forward you can develop this program and have the need for program evaluation. The Silver Star level will build on the foundations of the Bronze level, but includes the buy-in from administration and community stakeholders. So that's when you're starting to pull in additional stakeholders to really make this a school-wide and district-wide process. And finally, the Gold Star level will include elements of both Bronze and Silver, and is unique that it is a set 2-year program to allow for evaluation of data from year 1 and plans to close the gaps and address needs. So what we've seen in the past is that schools were kind of rushing the progress, or the program. So they would create goals and then they would start implementation of programming, but they didn't have a long enough time to really see how that programming implemented had impacted their student outcomes. So this just draws out the process so you can actually see how the goals you've set, the programs you've implemented have actually made a difference. The Indiana model also includes a school counselor self-care plan and evaluation to help prevent secondary trauma with our school counselors. And like I said, participants will get feedback along the way in the process from previous Indiana Gold Star and RAMP reviewers.
So in diving in a little bit more to the Bronze Star level, as Michelle mentioned before, again, that can be just an individual counselor working on that piece, again, for the advocacy part. You will review your current counseling program. That does include a needs assessment. You can use the one in the platform, or you are welcome to use other assessment tools. But also, as Michelle mentioned, with the Graduates Prepared to Succeed dashboard, it will be a great opportunity for you to have access to real-time live data. So that should be another piece that you can include as you're reviewing your current program. You will also use all of that data and assessment data that you collect to have a conversation with your administration about building a comprehensive school counseling program. So again, it can be a great way to get that buy-in and really dive into your student needs and be able to have clear access to that. You can then utilize that as a department in program planning. You will also do a personal time log of your use of time, and that can really help you give a good picture to those in your school administration as to how counselors are utilizing your time and is it the best use of your time in meeting student needs. It will include that counselor self-care plan as well. As we know, educators over Indiana and across the country are really hitting that burnout, and we hope to help address that in making a self-care plan. And then we will have you create one SMART goal with an action plan and include that in addition to an end of year document as just a summary of working through that Bronze Star process. And then for the Silver Star, it will build on the foundations of the Bronze Star. So it will include all of those elements I went through there briefly. So you will review your current program, but you will, as a department, this will have, again, that buy-in from your full counseling department, creating a vision statement and a mission statement as well. And you will also have that administrator buy-in as well as having an advisory council. So that will have buy-in from your community. The advisory council, if you did do the old Gold Star process, which I did, it is not monthly, it is twice a year. In addition to those requirements, Silver Star participants will also create program goals with input from your advisory council and explore interventions utilizing evidence-based practices, create those action plans to address needs, and also have an agreement with your administration on your department goals. And then finally for Gold Star, as Michelle mentioned, it is unique as that it is a 2-year process that will dive into creating and implementing lessons targeted at closing achievement gaps with your subpopulations of students, and also again include those elements from the Bronze and Silver Star level as well. And again, it will include that self-care plan and also program evaluation and reflection in the year 2 of your program. As Michelle mentioned before, schools would feel that pressure to rush through and not really evaluate if your interventions were working and if your program was addressing needs. So we hope that now this will allow for that time for reflection and making changes as needed to your programming. So now we're going to turn it over to the lovely Amy's, who will walk us through a live demonstration of the new platform.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We are excited to be showing you the nuts and bolts pieces of this program. Amy, are you able to share your screen? There we go. Amy, we're seeing your, yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, so when you log into carryingthetorch.org, this is the screen that you will see, and it gives you all the information you need in order to figure out how to enroll. So if you scroll down here, it gives you some things to think about as far as which level might be right for you. And then you will choose the level that you would like to begin. And we want to make sure that you understand that we will have on and off ramps for you. If you decide to start with Bronze Star and then get into it and decide, you know what, really we're doing okay, I think maybe we'll move up, you'll be able to do that. Same thing if you decide you're going to go with Gold Star and then something goes astray for you and you want to back down to the Silver Star, you will be able to do that throughout this process. So in order to enroll, then you're going to hit the enroll button. And we want you to understand that this is by school, not by counselor. So one counselor from your school will enroll the entire school. You'll choose your level, you'll enter your school. And then what will happen afterwards is once we've gone through the entire enrollment process, is that you as the counselor who created the account will be able to go into the portion listed as manage users, and you'll be able to add the other counselors in. So everybody will have access to it, but you will all be in one platform that way. You'll fill that out. And then the next thing you will do would be to check your own email. So in your email, then you will be creating a password and logging in, and then you'll get to the manage users part. That should be open today. So if you would like to get started on that, if you're ready to jump in, you're going to be able to do that as soon as we are done with this meeting. And we look forward to working with you on that. So we want to go back to the platform. I want to show you a couple of components of it there. So the first thing is that we want you to know that if you, for example, work at more than one school, there will be a section there where you'll be able to choose the school that you're working on at the current moment. So that's what we have here. And then once you get into the school, you'll have modules that look like this. Now we realize that this is a lot of work. So we tried very hard to make sure that it doesn't appear overwhelming. And we built a lot of things in so that you can take the chaos notch down just a little bit, but we want to go over them for you. So up in the right-hand corner there, you'll see that you can have easy access to whatever module you are working on right there. If the circle is not filled in, you have not started that module. If the circle is filled in, that means you believe that that module is complete. So that's just a visual to tell you, I think that we've gotten through all of that. Each module will have a suggested time frame. And please note that that is suggested, right? So we're going to tell you this is, if you want to stay on track to get the Gold Star done in 2 years, this is really what you need to do. But nobody's going to be chasing you and telling you, you got to get this done. So it will be up to you when you're to decide how you're going to manage that. But we do give you suggested timeframes. Underneath that, you see you have submission progress. So as we go through the module and you submit work to be reviewed, that bar will fill in. So you'll be able to see what you've gotten done, what you still need to do, or what's awaiting feedback, and what work you still need to do. Let's see. Each module then will also have an introduction. Amy, you want to open that for me? There you go. So the introduction is just going to tell you what objectives we have built in for you. This is what this module is going to teach you. Once you've read through that, you're able to close that and you don't have to worry about that anymore. And then you have your to-do list. Each module will have a optional professional development piece. Now, if you've joined our cohorts, most of the time what's going to be listed there is going to be a recording of a professional development we've already done, but it will be there for you. Those are optional. But it's a chance for you to go back and review something that maybe you didn't quite understand or you've forgotten something, should help you there. Then all the way through the modules, you will see that there are videos in smaller chunks, right? So I believe if I'm understanding correctly, the old Gold Star model had some pretty long videos. So we have chunked those down. We've used videos that the advisory council created and chunked them down. And then we've added some of our platform information in there as well. So each section will have a little short snippet of how to do this part. If you don't like to watch videos for some reason, which is okay, everybody has a different style, we will also have a PDF so you can just read through the slides as well. And it will look like that. And it will give you the speaker's notes as well. So if that's helpful to you. Please note that you will see which steps are which based on the stars that are there. So if it has a bronze star, a silver star, a gold star, you know that that's a step that you'll need to do. If you are a bronze school, you won't necessarily see the silver and gold steps unless you choose that. If you look up at the top, you can say, I'm only going to show steps for bronze, and then you would only see the things that you need to do for bronze. If you want to see all the steps because maybe you're considering leveling up, you'll be able to do that as well. The other thing is that, and I'm not sure who's on the call, so I'm just going to address this. We do have schools who are already RAMP certified, and so we're going to consider them fast track schools. And so there will be like a little rocket ship that tells you this is one we still need you to do because it's Indiana specific in order to also earn that gold star. In each module, then you'll see there's lots of different icons that you'll need to be aware of. There is the video one that we just talked about. There is an information icon. So anytime that's something like that, it will give you more information. A lot of times it's going to give you a link to something you need, or it's going to give you information from ASCA or information from the program manual, etc. It's also going to give you a pencil icon. And in that pencil icon, that's where you are going to enter information. Once you have completed the information that is asked for you there at the very bottom, then you will submit that for review. Oh, actually, that's back on the front screen. Sorry about that. Once you've filled that in, then you will hit submit for review. Once you have done that, then you will have a couple of options there. So the first thing is you have a column that says complete. You can check that column. That's you saying, I know I did that, and I know that I have submitted it. It's just to keep a visual to keep you on track. Your reviewer then will get an email that you have done that, and you will see 3 different things in the reviewed column. If you see a check mark like that, that means your reviewer reviewed it, you are on track, and they have accepted it. If you see a exclamation point, that means your reviewer has reviewed it, but they have some input for you, and they would like you to redo that work in some way. You're going to have the option to redo these things as much as you need to in order to do it well. And then if you just see a blank one, that means your reviewer hasn't gotten to it yet, but they will soon.
Amy, just wanted to mention that for each thing that's submitted, there's a little icon next to the item, and that'll tell you the criteria for that icon. There's a little pop-up there, and then you can just close that to get out of the way.
Thank you. And then the only other thing that we want to talk about is the left-hand tabs. So there are some things at the top there. These are items that we think you're going to use quite frequently. So we don't want you to have to search through them through the modules. So they are available to you right there, so you have access to them. The only other thing we would like to say is we do encourage you to work in order. Suggested timeframes are suggested timeframes, but we do encourage you to work in order because what you do here plays back on things that you have done before. So that's the platform. And if you have questions about that, Amy and Amy are always here to help you. Michelle?
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, I was responding in the comments and now I'm not even on video.
I'm ready to jump on. We got it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Yes. Let's see. I'm going to, sorry, I need to reshare my screen. All righty. So now we want to talk about how to get started. And these are all of the things that we have going on to get started with the process. So, and just to kind of go, oh, he responded, but just to kind of clarify, so the reviewers will be ASCA and Gold Star trained reviewers. And then we are also going to build a pipeline, and these will all be Indiana school counselors that will be trained. So we will kind of do like a train the trainer model. So we have enough reviewers, but they will be trained to review these programs. So the first things first, if you want to start the process, you will enroll today. So you can apply for the, or you can get started on the program. So there's just a way on the platform that you can sign up to get started in the process if you do not need additional professional development support. If you would like to participate in the cohorts that are occurring, we have a hybrid cohort that's already been filled, but we are doing an all virtual cohort that still has some spots. So if you're interested in signing your school up for the hybrid cohort, you may do so. And we can share the link to that in the chat today. And so essentially we will have these professional developments that will be occurring throughout the process so that you can attend and get support along the way. So we definitely don't want this to feel like an overwhelming process. So we will break it down and support you for each step. And we're just really excited to kind of walk you through and hopefully have in 2 years a ton of Gold Star achievers in school districts at our ISCA conference. Another thing that I want to, and I don't have a slide for this, but I want to draw your attention to is we released, this would have been 2 Fridays ago, a grant opportunity for schools. And so maybe Rebecca could grab the link, but essentially we are awarding schools funding from our ESSER set aside. So we have a grant opportunity. So if your school needs support to build a comprehensive school counseling program financially, this is a great opportunity. The funding can be used to support personnel. It can be used to support professional development. It can be used to support essentially really anything that you can think of that you would need to enhance your school counseling program. It is federal money, so there are some restrictions, like you can't spend it on food and t-shirts and stuff like that. But when you're really looking at your school district as a whole or schools as a whole, this could be a really beneficial opportunity. Right now, we have $5 million that we are awarding to schools, and we did not cap that. So we have done 2 other grants through the department. And so we've essentially just had schools apply for their needs and then we try to make it happen. So I've been advising those to kind of dream big. I mean, we can support some personnel. The only thing with the funding is it kind of is a weird timeline because it's ESSER. So there is kind of a time that it has to be reimbursed by. It's December of 2025, I believe. So just kind of thinking that way, but I definitely think that it's something that if your school is going through this process, you may want to consider to see how you could have additional things for your school counseling program that might be able to be funded by the state. So the grant, we put it out, like I said, 2 Fridays ago or a week and a half ago, but we are giving the deadline until December 16th because we know it's like terrible timing in the school year. And we had goals to get it out sooner, but things just couldn't come together fast enough. But it is out through December 16th. So you have some time, even if you haven't seen it yet. So highly recommend that you check it out. Yeah. Says the link to the grant has to be, we'll figure it out. Sorry.
Just to add to that too, Michelle, we're hosting a virtual networking session on November 9th at 9:30 Eastern time. And Michelle and Rebecca are going to be joining that session to give kind of a little overview of the grant again. Mm-hmm. And then also we'll have time to talk with other counselors on the call to share ideas for the grant and what you could potentially think about and consider in writing your application. So if anybody wants to join that, that's again November 9th in the morning, and it will be in our newsletter coming out soon. Any other questions that need to be added?
At this point, happy to just answer questions. Anything we can do to support you all.
There's a question in the
I-
chat. Is the meeting at ISCA for all levels of the process?
So yes, for all level, yeah, so bronze, silver, gold, I believe so, yes. We are going to be specifically talking about one of the first topics, but yeah, all level, because we're still at like the beginning of the professional development, so it would be for all. But it will be that professional development if you signed up for the cohort, correct? Because it's full at this point. We may open up spots, but
And it will be recorded, so if you can't make it
yes,
live,
yes.
we will have that on the platform for you to view.
Mhm, yes.
I did add the updated grant link to the chat. Sorry about that. So you should have that. It is also in Dr. Jenner's weekly newsletters. If you aren't receiving those, we would highly recommend doing so because we do put a lot of opportunities there. But I did update that link for you. There was a question in looking at the chat on the advisory committee who needs to be on that. There is, when you're in the platform, there's a video that kind of walks through how to create your advisory board. But again, that is tagging in community partnerships you may already have or helping you to seek those out.
Rebecca, I have a question.
Yes.
So our Evansville folks applied initially for the hybrid, knowing that we are not in the Indy area.
Right.
And they're asking me now, should they now apply for the virtual instead of the hybrid or remain on the hybrid? Because we secured our spot on the hybrid initially before the virtual was released.
Sure. Yeah, if it logistically is easier for you to do the virtual, the information that's shared is going to be the same. So if you would like to come in person, great, we'd love to have you, but understand I just drove to Evansville a few weeks ago. I know that that's a little bit of a drive. So if you want to make that change, just reach out to me and we can get that taken care of. And
Yeah,
then,
just if you want to shoot an email and let us know who all that would include, because that would also potentially open up spots for somebody who may want to join the hybrid. And just a quick, so the hybrid will include 3 in-person touch points, including the ISCA conference is one of those 3. And then there's one in December and then one in April.
And again, both of those opportunities are free. I just saw that question at either the virtual or in person. All of this, the professional development, utilizing the platform and going through the process is free for counselors for the next 2 years.
I have a question. So this is my first webinar that I've been on for this. If we were to sign up now, like we're on track for the 2 years, even though it's like October now, it's okay to sign up now, even though we really haven't done anything so far this year, is like working towards that.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll make up ground. Like I said, some timelines got a little squeezed, so we'll make it happen. But yeah, it's not too late.
Okay. And then is that the link right there that I see to sign up for the virtual cohort?
Yes, for the it was posted in the chat, the virtual professional development.
Thank you.
And then there's a couple of schools that asked about ramp and if they should go ahead and apply for the gold. Yes, as Michelle mentioned before, we are working on reciprocity with ASCA. We should have an answer on that shortly. But regardless of that reciprocity, it will help you in that ramp renewal process and doing this program.
Yeah, because if you've already ramped, then you can, there are some components you'll have to put in to get awarded Gold Star for Indiana. But if you put in some of the other components from like maybe your ramp application, it will help you when you go to renew ramp. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's more of just like a systematic situation. You don't have to, but if you put some of your other information from your ramp application into the Carrying the Torch platform, it will help you when you go to renew. The information will be there. And then someone asked you to participate in carrying the torch, do you have to be in a cohort? And the answer is no. You don't need to sign up for the professional development cohort. You can do this on your own. The cohorts are just there to support and provide that additional professional development.
And I would add, there's a question, should I sign up if I do want to sign up for a cohort, should it be by person or by school? Please register by person so we can keep a total count, especially for the hybrid. That's important. Thank you.
Related to that, there was a question about if they should do the process. Can they do it as a district instead of by school because they're doing the Lilly grant? Obviously, if your whole corporation is bought in, great. But that would be, we would also need to probably do it by school as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes.
Yeah, so each school would have to go through the platform, but like essentially as a district, you could all be kind of working at the same time. But each school would have to have, like, would have to apply for the award in the system. And it's the same if you were to go through RAMP as well, hence why that is kind of the way we're rolling with that.
I have another question. So I'm on the registration for the virtual cohort. And when it says roles, like one of the options is social worker. If we have a social worker, should she be part of this or only the school counselors?
I mean, I think it just depends on how the social worker is, like what they do in your school building. So I know we have social workers working in the capacity of school counselor and vice versa. But if you're building a comprehensive school counseling program and your social workers are a part of those tiers, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be a part of the process, but because that's more of like a licensing thing versus a personnel thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. I think we got all the questions in the chat. I was trying to scroll through. Last call, if there are any questions, feel free to bump those up in the chat, or again, you are welcome to reach out to any of us specifically as well. I did see one come through. Grant need to be with the entire district or single school.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. The grant can be could be district wide, because that would be totally fine. It's just the actual like process through carrying the torch has to be per school, but you could apply as a school district for funding to support comprehensive school counseling programs in your individual schools. So yes, absolutely.
And there was also a question about like the certification district-wide or school designated. It can be by school. It will be by your school, because even if your district is working on it, again, each individual school is going to be part of that process.
Okay.
And then for the hybrid cohort, if you're wanting to participate, just register prior to or as soon as possible for the cohort, because again, we're going to get rolling on this right away. If you want to be part of the meeting at ISCA.
And I think Jen was asking what needs to be completed prior to, and I believe just getting on the platform.
Yeah.
And then looking at kind of the components that are due in the month of November. So, I mean, there's like, it's like Amy said, like there's not due dates per se. It's more or less, we're just trying to help you. We're like taking your assignment and chunking it for you so that you don't get to the end and get overwhelmed. So nothing is like due at the end of November. If you take a little bit longer, it just gives you, time to kind of think about what needs to be done when, if you're a planner. And then someone said confused about the website, and maybe Amy could clarify. So a school signs up for the platform and then adds other counselors. So is there like an administrator?
It looks like this. So each
Mhm.
one person will create the account and invite the other users to be part of that under manage users. They'll put in, you can see where you invite new user, where they put the name and the email in and invite them. And then, so they're all in one account, basically.
Yeah.
They might
So you
say-
just want to, you don't want to have, like, if you have Hazeldale Elementary, you don't want to have multiple Hazeldale Elementary accounts. You want to have one Hazeldale Elementary, but then any school counselors or personnel that would be working towards carrying the torch.
And honestly, we would encourage you, and users don't necessarily have to be the people on your team, right? If you have an administrator that is over you and you want to create buy-in, you can invite him or her to be part of the module or a part of the account as well, so they can see the modules as you're working on them.
I have a quick question just to verify that. We are a K through, obviously, like we're one elementary, high school, middle school, we're all connected. So all of us counselors are doing it together, but in our own buildings. So we each need to create our own account though. But so I wouldn't add like Kyra underneath mine. She would have her own account.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's where the
Yeah.
confusion piece is. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so
it's by building. It's by building.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
also if for some reason you wanted it, let's say that you're all working together, so each of your buildings is enrolled in carrying the torch. And then in your manage users, if you wanted those other school counselors at the other buildings to be able to look at your work and help each other, make sure we're being consistent, you could add them through manage users.
Okay.
But just remember, you're going to be using that select school and need to be careful about which school you're actually working in.
Right. And then they would have potentially 3 other logins, right?
No, they'll just have
Oh.
one login. If let's say that you're an elementary counselor and you are split between 3 elementary schools, you'll
Mhm.
have one login. You'll just select each school, select the school you
Okay.
want to work in on that select schools page.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and then we had a question too. Oh yeah, so Rebecca answered in the chat, but just to clarify, so if you're the only counselor in your school building, so yes, the award, it would be kind of solely fall on you to do a bulk of the work, but once you get to silver and bronze, that's when you're pulling in your administration, you're pulling in your advisory council. So there'll be others that will work with you on the process, but yes, you would kind of manage the whole the award process for your
And it is
school building.
possible. I mean, I did
Yeah.
the old Gold Star program as the only counselor for my building. And you will have to rely heavily on that advisory counselor and other people at the table to help you through.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can share the slides.
Yes.
Hey, we had a
I meant to do that.
request. Okay, I could put it in the chat if that's okay with everybody.
Sometimes when I share my screen and I'm talking, I have a hard time like multitasking to put it in the chat, but yes, absolutely. And feel free to reach out to Rebecca or I, if you need, like if we missed you, didn't get a link, or you're still trying to find where certain things are.
And you hear all those beings. I see you all are signing up already. That's exciting. We're loving that.
Sorry
Yeah.
for the super long link, but there are the slides in the chat. Any other questions?
Did we put the grant in the chat,
I
Rebecca?
did. I put it back in
Okay.
there again. I accidentally sent it to one person. I think I had responded to it something.
Oh,
so
okay.
I put it back in there as well. But again, as I mentioned before, if you are not receiving Dr. Jenner's weekly newsletter, I highly encourage you to sign up to have that delivered to your inbox, because we do post a lot of opportunities there, not just from our team, but from across DOE.
Yeah, and one thing to consider too, and this is something I even had the conversation with Dr. Jenner, like we recognize this is like a busy time. but we have this funding, so we want to be able to share it. So this grant process, like, don't feel like it's like, I know some of you went through Lily and it was kind of a daunting grant writing process. This is not. This is like, there's some things we need, you know, a project narrative, a budget narrative, and a budget summary or budget Excel spreadsheet. So it's not as extensive as the Lilly grant. So don't let that like scare you. I know when I was in the field, grant writing was like, whoa, and now we've been managing a lot of grants, and I just see it as such an opportunity. So if your school lacks resources, lacks funding, I definitely think that you should try to utilize it. Another thing, you can use it for curriculum. You could use it for like supplies. So creating like a calming corner, you know, like there, sky's the limit when I think about funding for school counselors. So you can be creative in your asks. Looking at like college and career resources, like even like a Zello or a Naviance or something, like those are things that could be utilized. So just things to consider if you were like, oh, we really want to do this, but we don't have the money. Yeah, this is a great chance.
Michelle, did you already mention with the grant, is there a certain amount like per school? Kind of, I know Lily kind of had that, you know, per student or.
We did not cap the grant. The only thing that we say, and we kind of said this with our other two, is like, you do kind of want to think about like your per pupil per amount cost. You know, obviously if your school is tiny and you're asking for $500,000, like it might be looked differently. So you just want to make sure that your budget meets like the amount of students that you have. But beyond that, we are not capping it. So we'll just look at the funding requests and try to fund as many schools as we can. But $5 million is actually a lot of money. So I think, you know, we can take it pretty far. Like I know we had the last grant that I am managing, we allotted, it was like $10.1 million, and we have like 53 school districts that got money. And they got a lot of money. So
there was a question in the chat about are the grantees expected to impact each of the 9 metrics on the grant application? And then again, the grant is due December 16th.
yes. So no, those metrics does not have to be all 9. I probably should have clarified that in the grant. It's just, you want to use those metrics when creating your goals. So it does not have to hit all 9. No, those are just when you're thinking of student outcomes that you want to impact. It would really be awesome if it impacted one of those metrics. And then the grant support funding can support personnel. You'll just need to talk to your whoever does like your financial, just to make sure, because there's like a specific reimbursement date. So when you're like, school contracts don't fall the same as these federal grant reimbursement dates. So you'll just want to look at the grant reimbursement date and how you could support staff. Like that would be the only issue, but yeah, we can support personnel.
Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. I don't know if anybody else on the team is, but if not, we will go ahead and close this session. Again, it was recorded, and we will share the recording out in case you want to rewatch any part of it, or in case you have colleagues that missed it completely. So reach out to us with any questions. And with that, thanks again for being here. And we will hopefully see you all very soon, maybe at the IPSCA conference. So take care, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.